Good afternoon, I'm greeting you in my language. My name is Arlen Dwyer, Nuk Ishayet. I am Salila Wayampum. I am Waskopum, enrolled with the Confederated Tribes of Warm Springs in Oregon. I want to explain my regalia today. It is dedicated to the missing and murdered Indigenous relatives. It started out to be women, but now we're realizing it's more than women. We have boys and men as well, and more reality. In today's culture, I listened to a tribal leader in the state of Washington talk about the 14-year-olds are being targeted and they're being trafficked. And we have Native Americans casinos, and that's where they're trying to do business with the children. And so we're trying to explain to the children how much they are loved, how valuable they are, and to be careful. Watch their social media, for example. Those kind of special precautions that parents and grandparents must take with our children. My sister was found on the Yakima Reservation among a dozen other women throughout 1 year time frame. We don't know what happened to her or any of the others. And she's at home now buried, but yet it's something we'll never know. And my youngest grandson is from Hoopa, California. His mother's been missing since October 13th, 2021. And these women have been battered by their mates. And again, we can't find her. And it's unfair to these little ones that are now being raised by grandparents. And so we use the red color, the red dress. My bag is dedicated to the Red Dress Society that is in reflection of those women, the red dress. And so you'll see us making our regalia in the red. And so I have a brand new regalia that I wear in reference to my sister and my grandson's mother today, as well as all others. And there's a national movement taking place. The federal government has listened to our appeals. The state is working with us today. We have gone to the Capitol and spoke on this matter. And so I just came from the Lummi Reservation in the state of Washington near Canada, and the whole powwow was dedicated to MMIR. And so I danced last night. 7-hour drive away, I was at a powwow, and about 50 of us women were on the floor with our red dresses dancing. And the committee selected 5 out of the 50 to come out and compete. And I was selected as one of the 5. The young ladies that I participated with all had red shawls and jingle. I was the only one with the traditional. And so they had us dance one song and then second song, and the committee would select somebody to step off the floor. The last one on the floor is the champion. And I had no idea I was the last one. I was just dancing. And I heard my family war whooping. Woo! Yay! And I looked around and I seen the 4 others that were on the floor. They were all lined up at the head of the floor, and I'm like, I am the last one. So I was declared the champion of the MMIW in that dance, and Believe me, I'm 65 years old. Those women were less than half my age, really. And so it was quite an honor for me to be able to go through my healing process, to make this regalia in order for me to gain understanding about acceptance of loss, of those that moved on in their journey, and the children that are left behind. I have to pray when I'm working and doing my regalia like this, and so I raised my eagle feathers when I was dancing, and so it must have caught the eye of the judges, I tell you what. And I enjoyed it. It's a part of my healing is to dance and to pray. And so we're taught how to move forward with our losses, the reality of MMIR. And so that's why part of my activism has to do with the MMIR. And the other part is my activism about Salilo, the mighty wonder of the world. The water is our life, and our people, we had the Wall Street of America with our salmon, 22,000. The flow of that water was 3 times faster than Niagara Falls. We know that, and we lost that March 10th, 1957. And so part of my activism is being a member of that tribe and letting people know about what that world looked like back in the day. I'm going to explain my role in our longhouse. I'm from Simnasho, the northern section of my tribe, and it's called Simnasho. And we have what people think about Thanksgiving. We have festivals to celebrate our first foods. To us, it's medicine. To us, it's sovereignty. It's ours. It's endured our people through the Great Depression. Our people didn't even know what the Great Depression was because they knew how to gather foods. And so it didn't impact them hardly at all. It's what my grandmother told me. And so this one is a huckleberry basket. It's made of bear grass and cedar. And this is the large basket. So I'll wear it on my waist with the belt. But I have a small one that's about 2-quart size. I'll fill that one up, then I'll come and put it in there. And so as a family, we go out and gather. So I've laid out the foods here. Our number one staple, of course, is the salmon. We endure the salmon. And so this one is a sockeye salmon from the Columbia River, and my son caught it, and me and his wife canned it. And this is going to last the next 2 years. It's good to take care of us for a couple of years. We've got roots. In the springtime, we travel with the seasons, and so the salmon will come in the springtime and again in the fall time. And the roots will start in the springtime, but they will take turns. The first one is the piachi. This one is the dried piachi, we call it. So, and then we also have a bitter root, the camas. Lewis and Clark were saved by this one. The Nez gifted them with the camas root and helped them stay alive. And so this one is later in the year, and it's got a white flower and a purple flower. We watch when it loses the color, that's when we gather it. It's really, really a deep root to get. And so there's 5 varieties we're doing today. There used to be a dozen varieties. We have climate change, we have people that moved in on our territory and took over So a lot of our organic foods are not there anymore. Used to be 12, now there's 5, for example. Same with the salmon, of course, with the hydroelectric dams and all of that. The huckleberry, so we have the seasons, the huckleberries in the fall time, and the chokecherries is after that. I want to tell you about Oregon State University did research on our foods, and they let us know huckleberries have more antioxidant power than any grocery store fruit. They're in the same family as cranberries. They can help prevent urinary tract infections. They protect your eyesight, prevent ulcers, prevent tooth decay, help prevent cancer, protect the body and brain from the effects of aging. That's our secret. Chokecherries, vitamin C, other natural antioxidants, strengthening blood vessels, preventing varicose veins. One of my secrets with this one is I make a pudding with it, and other tribes make a pudding with it and put it in a little cup. So I'll go visit somebody that might need medicine. These are all medicine, very pure foods. And this one in particular is one that I like to work with to make a medicine. It's a lot of work. There's a little tiny seed in there. You have to take that seed out and work with that berry. So the Iroquois, they visited us at Celilo, and we traded our foods, our crafts, our buckskin, our beadwork, rawhide, salmon, berries, roots with other tribes. And the women were amongst the business people. And so we traded with people as far away as New York, and they brought us the corn. They brought us this certain type of, the Wasco people have a bag we wear on the side like that one around our neck, like it hangs like that. That came from the Iroquois. It wasn't our style. And they brought us a crown. The Wasco people wore a crown. We never had that either. But these tribes brought something, and we traded with them. We might have a young lady that like Peggy Sue over here that might have shared a dance with the feathers for the visitors, and we might have gave them a song, we might have given them a dance, and they gave us the corn. We did all kinds of trading like that as people, constantly. So this one is the dried corn, and this will last for another 2 years also. And so we mix it with our elk and our deer meat, and that'll be the meal. And so I'm talking about how the missionaries came upon our people along the river doing our trading, and when they saw the women involved, they thought, how dare they? They're so haughty. What do you think they're doing as business people? And so today I'm an entrepreneur. I've been a business owner since 2003, and probably since I was 5, most likely. But I like to share with people that it's in my DNA, that my ancestors have done this forever. And so I was taught how to be a business person ever since I could string a necklace and go trade it for some bubble gum or something at the store. So I was explaining about being a food gatherer, and in our culture it's very equal. The men have a role too, and their role is with the salmon, with the bear, with the deer, with the elk, and they harvest and they prepare, they cook it, They serve it. They serve the water too. It's very equal. That's what the missionaries figured out when they came upon my people, is that we were a very egalitarian society, is how they put it in the book. Equal. That we had medicine women, medicine men. We had all of that in our society, business women, businessmen, and religious leaders, men and women. No difference there. And they caught on to that, and they didn't like it. So be it. Sometimes we have to go in hiding to carry out our way of life. And so I like to share a portion of what I do as a food gatherer, but it's so unique that I can only go so far in sharing our cultural knowledge, because it's in constant struggle of other societies to take advantage of it. And so I can only tell you so much. It's more in depth than what I'm telling you, very much more so. 7 days a year that I put out for this one. 7 days a year I put out for this one, for example. And that's a lot of praying, that's a lot of sweat lodge, that's a lot of elder discussion, and people making decisions on the timeline. And so, one quick example, when we get our first salmon, the chief goes out and determines the salmon's ready now. The men can go fish. And the very first salmon that's caught is fed to the people. That's the medicine for the season. And we have almost like a Thanksgiving, what mainstream calls it. For us, it's a feast. And we come in, the men bring in their foods, and the women bring in their foods. Like I say, all equal. And we walk in, and in our longhouse, we walk in and we turn around. That turning around, it means that we're all equal. Equal with all the animals, all the living beings, man, woman, color, we're all equal in the world. And we don't judge anything. When we turn around, we walk in, and now we're with the Creator. We're in prayer. We're not thinking any bad thoughts about judgments or anything when we go in our space, spirituality. This is spirituality by the water. The mountains is our spirituality. Ours is not on only Sundays. Ours is constant, every day, all day. And we're taught that. Our children are taught to worship our place of being, that Salilo, our history. We're the oldest inhabited village in the northwest continent. Northern continent. We have a song that we sing in our longhouse. It talks about the Great Flood. The Great Flood happened 12,000 years ago. That's the kind of history that's been passed on to my people. And so I like to speak to the little ones. My good little relative here, Peggy Sue, and her little sister, and have them also be aware of what this means to us when we lay out the foods in the seasons like this. We never had territories in our lifetime. We traveled with the game, with the berries, with the roots, with the animals, and so we didn't know anything about Oregon or Washington or Idaho, because we went to all of those places to gather our foods, the mountains. And we shared. I have relatives on every river reservation right now. I have relatives at Umatilla. I have relatives at Yakima. I have relatives at Warm Springs and Nez Perce. So that just is because we were so mobile and very family oriented. And so it's interesting to travel and start introducing myself, and they're saying, oh, you're so-and-so's family, you're my family. And all of a sudden we realize we're related. It happens probably every time I travel. And it's interesting because when I go to Pendleton, I have a twin over there, and people talk to me. They think I'm somebody named Patty, and they come up to me and talk to me, and I'm not Patty, but I'm like visiting with them. It's interesting that I would be mistaken for a relative in another reservation, but it's because our bloodlines are so close. Our language dialects are slightly different, but we can understand one another. And so the river people, we still gather and let the world know that we're still here, and that we would like to one day see our falls come back. Maybe we don't all agree on that, which is okay. We all have our opinions, but we definitely want our children to see that mighty wonder of the world and the salmon that furnished our lifestyle, our way of life. And so in my line of work, I like to show our way of life, the men on the scaffold fishing. We still do that. My sons still do that. My father was a treaty fisherman, and he was a rebel. He was the perfect person for the job. We have 22 sites on the river that we can legally fish on the Columbia River. The tribal council asked him, the rebel rouser, go fish there, go fish there, go fish there. And he did. And he got arrested. It was a badge of honor to him, because the tribal attorneys always got him out of jail. And he thought it was kind of a game. He's like, we're going to show them. It's our land, our fish. And so that was his personality. And I was in college at Portland State University, and I would go to the river, and my dad and I rode horses together a lot. And one day he took me to the shooting range to shoot a pistol. And I'm like, a pistol? What are we going to do with a pistol? Okay, so I'm shooting a pistol. And I go with him to the boat docks, and my uncles had their trucks there, three different trucks, boats. And the non-native fishermen were very jealous, and they were destroying the tires on the vehicles. They were putting sugar in the tanks of the boats. They were trying to do away with Native American fishing constantly. And my dad and my uncles were busy fishing. They couldn't pay attention. And so, guess who became the watch person? With a pistol. Yeah. I sat in Dad's pickup with a pistol, and he gave me a spotlight. That light was so strong, if I put it in the face, nobody could see nothing. And then I'd flash that pistol too, if they came around. Once these men came to Dad's pickup, and they lifted up that tarp, and they said, look at all this salmon. And you can tell they were angry. And I had a college book in my hand, and I was reading with the flashlight, because I was in college. And I heard them, and I thought, uh-oh. And so I brought out the light, flash it in them on their face, and they put the tarp down real quick. Then I made my voice as low as I could. I didn't want them to know I'm female. What do you think you're doing? Like that. And then I flashed that pistol. And they're like, ooh, well, we're not just looking at your fish. And so that was the only one time I had to do the night watchman stuff. But that was my college way of life. They paid me $50 a night. 3 uncles and my dad. And I was there. I came down Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and I went back to college on Sunday. And so that was how I paid my bills. I was helping out with the fishing night watchman. I was with Dad one time when he was busted at one of the sites, and the police came along, and I was in the pickup, his pickup, and I had my flashlight and my book, college student, always reading a book, and they arrested him, and he was just like, you know, leave me alone. He was going with them to get in the car, and they're like, is that your pickup? He said, yes, it is. She's a college student. Don't you dare mess with her. She didn't do nothing. She's probably got a book in her hand, and I did. And so they left me alone. But I saw what it was like for him to be tested by authority for reserving our fishing rights. We're still fighting every day for those fishing rights, constantly. It's a never-ending battle for us to have our rights to go fishing and carry on our way of life. I'm not sure if I have anything more to add about Celilo other than the fact that the dams destroyed our Celilo Falls. The barges rule the river today, more so than us. The sea lions and other walks of life, agriculture, it all plays into destroying our habitat and our salmon restoration. So we're constantly having to address those matters. And the treaty at Warm Springs is written in a way that we are equal in the land. All the treaties in the nation say equal to the state. Warm Springs is not that. And so we're able to negotiate with Canada as a nation, not as equal to Oregon or any other. We had very educated leaders. We have a lake called Billy Chinook, named after a leader that graduated at Brown University. And he was a chief when that treaty was made. That's why our language isn't the same. So as a former tribal leader, I got a chance to review some of that detail about the land and the first-hand experience protecting our water, protecting our salmon, gathering our foods. And so I like to advocate for the lost ones, MMIR. I like to advocate for my Celilo Falls. Advocate for our people in general. Education. Education is, yes, I have a college degree, I have a few. I'm also traditional in the longhouse. There's nothing wrong with having both. My grandfather didn't speak English, and he would tell me over and over again, both. It's good for you. Get that one and take care of our people. Keep this one. And so I do my best to be in balance with the knowledge of the longhouse, the knowledge that I learned in the books, that I learned from elders, especially. Nai, thank you.